Today we're going to do a very cool tone makeup. I know it's quite challenging. Just doing my skin prep. The L'Oreal Glycolic. This one, the glycolic acid serum from L'Oreal, does have a strong perfume. So if it's not something for you, do keep in mind. Barry color correcting primer. No Pore Zone from Milani. This is the one pore reducing primer. I also like the Putty primer from ELF. Can you see how beautiful that is? So the pores are just blurred out. For foundation, I'm using the actually I need to put it in here because I'm going to add some, so just that much. I am going to add some Bioma into it because it is very, very thick and I don't like thick foundation. So as we get older, that's one of the things we got to remember. Like they kind of tend to, so I'll just put 2 or 3 drops in there. They tend to settle into your fine lines and all of us inevitably start to get them. I am starting to get under my eyes. I have been quite fortunate with my skin that I don't have that many, but you can still see a few in the corners and things like that. So I'm just blending. So this is a bit darker than my skin, but because we're doing a neutral foundation look, I am using this as a neutral shade, and because the Bioma has thinned it out, it looks perfect on my skin. When you apply foundation, miss the under eye area, I mean, because you are going to apply concealer there. Although I don't have under eye, there's a little bit of darkness around my eyelids and the inner corners of the eyes. Then we are going to go with the puff. It's a wet sponge, and then just press it in. This shade was 5N1. Application, as I always remind you guys, is all about pressing it in, making it look like skin. And this is where I would spend my most time, skin prep and application of foundation. If you get your base spotless, then everything else becomes smooth. We're going to apply a cool contour from Rare Beauty. This is Serene. So I'm going to apply it a little bit. These days I've been going can you see that natural shade of my cheekbone? So I'm just going to follow that. And then from just underneath my brows, contouring my nose. Not going to apply here bronzer, instead of I'm going to apply a cool tone. I don't know how many of you guys remember or know Monica Bellucci. She was one of the most beautiful women and she used to apply this monochromatic look and it was awe-inspiring. So just going to take my brush. This is a flat kind of dense brush that I use to press my contour in. I'm going to try and do the whole application without any edits, but I'll see how I go. If the video is too long, then I might have to, but otherwise we're just going to go. Now for the nose, I'm going to leave it there. Then for the blush, I'm going to use the Rare Beauty blush in Virtue. I'm going to apply it directly on the face today because this is a very light color and it does not last. That's why I don't like this blush much compared to my other blushes. It just wipes off, so I'm just going to blend that in just above my contour. I am not applying any bronzer because bronzer brings a bit of warmth into your face. Just taking the excess of the blush on my hand. Then we are going to blend this contour of the nose in. For that, I'm going to take a flat, dense brush and then just press that in. So, that's good enough. Then I pull my hair back because it's all over my face. And then I'm going to take this NYX Contour and Highlight Pro palette. And I'm going to take my little bit more sharper brush and sort of take this color here, this one here, the darkest of the lot. I'm just going to apply where that contour was applied on my cheek, and then just going to blend that in. We're just making it much more neutral. And then for highlighting, I'm using the Conceal and Perfect from Milani in the shade 150. This is a bit warm neutral, so if this looks a little bit too neutral, then this works. Please remember the lighting, the ring light is a bit on the neutral warm as well. I would let that sit while I move on to my brows. So just doing a few strokes. It was Valentine's Day yesterday. When you've been married for so long, you learn to read each other's strengths and weaknesses. And the biggest successes is like sometimes what we look for in a person when we first met them is not exactly your need as you grow older. The care factor and the consideration factor is a huge factor. The physical attributes, for example, if you don't like that person's personality, it doesn't matter how good looking they are. You only see the ugliness about that person. But if they are beautiful in their personality, they are, good to you, good to people around you, considerate to you, and does not come with and I mean this in the good way, come with traumatic bundles, then that is such a good thing. Like, you could not ask for more. There's very few people who don't have trauma from childhood, often scars from parents. The biggest thing I see is scars left on children by parents, and they are not often intentional. They are a consequence of us as parents not knowing better, because most of our behaviors are what we learned and what was happened to us as children. And we think, because, and I've heard this a lot, because we turned out all right, if we do the exact same thing that our parents did to us, our children are going to, not necessary. Some of the trauma left on us by our parents require counseling. And if that is the case, then keeping a tab on what you say, keeping a tab on what you do is so important, especially as a woman who grew up in India. I am definitely that trauma child. I had lots of issues that I needed to discuss and come to peace with my therapist over the years, and I didn't even recognize that unless I was struggling in my 40s, and I couldn't understand why the sudden change in behavior. Probably some of them were always there, but I guess my partner was tolerating it. And sometimes when you are annoyed with your partner, looking at within yourself what's going on with you, rather than blaming them for everything that's wrong, and especially in your middle age, is so important. Plus, we've got to remember they're also dealing with their own issues related to middle age, and men do have menopause. I'm sorry to say this, but they do have menopause. They have hormonal changes as well, which becomes more apparent into their 40s. And a lot of it is fear. Like, I live in fear. Every time that I make a decision regarding my children, I fear that I may make a mistake. I don't know this job. I have not done this before. So it is not easy for me. I not come with a dictionary that is a perfect one that tells me what to do. And trust me when I say my preference is knowing better what not to do. And that is what I have been doing. Like, not doing things that I did not like about my parents' parenting. But of course there are things that I didn't understand then, why they did it, but as a parent I do understand why, and instead of yelling and shouting, I choose to walk away from it and come back and address it in a better way. Like, the tone of your voice, even if you say the same thing, the tone of your voice makes it better listened to and better understood. And I did not know that until I looked within myself and was thinking, why am I yelling so much? And sometimes in my mid-40s, my children was walking on eggshell. I understand that now. Then I'm going to take a lighter color, so something that is neutral, and probably this, I would say, and then apply it in the center of my eyes and just blend that in. I'm just going to keep the outer areas dark, and then just to keep this in the middle of the eyes, just to pop it a bit lighter, and then blending it in. I'm going to apply some bronzer. This is a cool shaded bronzer from Milani, just in the outer aspects of my face. And just the nose contour as well. Then we are going to take a neutral colored I should use this is the Up in Smoke palette, and I am going to use this brown shimmer, which is very, very neutral. So this is my neutral, okay? I like a little bit of shimmer these days, which makes my eyes look larger, and I'm just applying in the center of my eyes, although it is neutral. Going back on that brown again into the inner corners and the outer corner to darken that and define it a little bit more. This is a very nice palette from NYX Cosmetics. So as I was saying, parenting is trial and error, and keeping, having an understanding, staying connected to your kids. Some of the things they teach you are amazing. Like, I have learned a few things from my son, and I have learned a few things from my daughter, and I continue to learn that. And I have learned a lot of things from my partner that are amazing qualities. And although I didn't understand then, I do believe that I've been very, very lucky with the people around me, just the way they understand me. And my husband and I have been together since we were 17. So I didn't realize how much he understands me, like literally can read me than anybody else I know, including my happinesses, my sadnesses, what I'm about to say, and I do the same. And coming to peace with my issues has helped me accept some things about him and think, that's not bad at all, it's okay. Like, I'm not perfect, and that's the key. Recognizing the fact that you are not perfect comes with a lot of acknowledgement and acceptance of your partner's negatives that may annoy you. And then I see some of the idiots around and I think, my God, I've been so lucky. Like, I really am blessed that I have a partner like this who doesn't try to control me. Also, I am a high maintenance girl, and from the time I remember, of course, if I'm a self-reliant person, I buy everything on my own, and so is he. Very independent we are, but I do like every now and then pretty things, and he knows that. And as far as I can remember, it's never been a time that if he could afford it. Remember, we have lived all the lives, like we've lived as the poor students who couldn't afford much. We've lived as the junior doctors who couldn't afford much. We've lived as new migrants. We've lived as new parents. We've lived as parents who are building houses. So we've seen all of that. So I'm just brightening the under eye just to make that look obvious. And then I am going to take a Q-tip with some micellar water and just run it there. And then go back on the concealer. I just like a sharp corner to define my eyes. As always, I'm going to go with a brush rather than a sponge initially because it lets less product settle, and I like that better than lots of baking. It just doesn't suit my porous. I have lots of pores and they just tend to settle in. So I go with this step initially, mattifying the centers of my face, and then I would just spray it in. I'm using my Emco Beauty. Remember what I told you about Rare Beauty? It's already disappeared. So I'm using my NARS. This is the shade Deep Throat. Before the powder before the drying off the setting spray, I'm just using that. So just a little bit of color. This is a beautiful shade and that does show on my skin as well. Very, very neutral tone. Just darkening that eyeshadow again. And just blending it. For highlighter, I'm using the Milani Cosmetics, and I'm just going to apply a little bit, very little bit there. You can skip this if you like, if you don't want to. I do apply in the evening a bit of, and if this is a day look, then I wouldn't. Neutral lips. That's the Mecca Max Chestnut. And this is Shiseido. Trust the process, guys. It looks good. It's better than, or rather, the liquid lipstick of Flesh Pot from MAC. So this is the monochromatic cool tone makeup with a gelled hair. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do let me know what your thoughts are. I am actually loving this look, and it's so beautiful with this top from H&M. This just the shimmer on it with the mattified look of my makeup, the gelled hair as well. It's a bit hard for my hair to stay in place with a gel, but I think that's how it would look. Thank you so much for watching, guys.